on a journey, trying to do the best that we can with the childhood we've had, with the brokenness that we have experienced. And so when we encounter someone that is toxic, we have to understand that they are acting, thinking, and speaking from their brokenness. And when we see it as such, we're able to say, you know what, you cannot pour into me because you are still so poisonous yourself. But what I can do is wish you the best while I move into spaces and environments that help to edify and allow me to have sustenance, because otherwise our need to be a hero will make us drown in someone else's pool of poison, instead of really taking the time to really, analogies are out here, but to swim.
I freaking love the analogies. Keep coming. I was going to say, keep them coming. That's so beautiful, because I think that that's important to remind ourselves, because when someone is toxic, we either vilify them, which is 100%, which I actually don't think that does us ourselves any justice.
Yeah, what does that do?
But I've also heard you say sometimes you want to hold on to some hostileness. Yeah. So talk to me about that. And is that hostility within yourself? Is that hostility with other people?
No, it's towards other people. Now I'm telling you, this is the best version of me talking to you right now, because I want to be very clear that I am very petty when I am not in the best version of myself. Okay. So if someone does something to me, it takes me a minute to come to this place of forgiveness and compassion, and they're just broken. Because that's, I hope there's a pebble in their shoe, and that
I want to hear the pettiness.
Yes,
this is why it's important. Tell me a couple of the pettinesses, so that we can say how you shift it.
No, no. Like, I hope there's a pebble in their shoe and that it bothers them everywhere they go. I hope they walk into a puddle.
I was going to say, you're being very polite. I'm more like, I hope they fall and scrape their knee.
Some falling would be great. Some scraping of the knees, some people walking away from them. I hope someone breaks their heart the way they broke mine. All of the things, right?
You do.
But then I spend so much mental real estate thinking about what I want to go wrong with someone, that I don't have time to consider what I want to go well with my own spirit and soul. And so when they say forgiveness is for you, it's not for the other person, it's kind of become cliche now. We don't want to hear it. But the truth is that it takes a lot of energy to wish harm on someone. And you have to become someone to wish harm on someone. And of course, we become bitter and resentful after that. But to then say, you know what? I don't even have to worry about what's going to happen to them, because right now I need to focus on what's happening to me, because I'm changing out of this need to be spiteful and revengeful.
Yeah. I've had I got a little mental list of people in my head of just I want a pebble in their shoe every freaking day.
Every pair of shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Every time they walk, I want them to feel that. But you're right. And being able to even say it like this makes a light heart of it, which I think is important. But hate takes a lot of energy. A lot of that deep-seated, that knot in your stomach.
Yeah.
And so I love that you say, it's I'm natural. I get this, but it doesn't serve me long term. And I freaking love that, because people are going to want to paint you as being perfect. You know that, right?
No, people shouldn't do that. No, absolutely not. I think that if anyone hangs around long enough, that they'll see that I definitely have my moments where I'm feeling depressed, where I'm feeling angry, where I feel like, God, how could you even be real if this has happened to me? I don't understand it. And here I am, a pastor, a woman of faith who has these feelings. And I try to be very vocal about it, even on my social media, because I don't want you to think I'm perfect at the expense of you thinking there's something wrong with you. It's important for you to realize that I'm on a journey too. I'm trying to figure it out as well. And then I share what I'm learning along the way. We're students in the same classroom, and some of us get good grades sometimes, and some of us need tutoring and mentoring, but together we can all win.
Yeah, God, I love that so much. Your analogy is just amazing, girl. I want to talk about betrayal, because there was I heard the story about your sister was the one that wrote a letter to your parents to tell them that you were pregnant at the age of 13.
Yeah.
I had to rewind it, because I was like, her sister? When I heard it, I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, how did this not break their relationship? And your sister said something that was so profound. She said, in that moment, it was more important that my sister was okay than my friendship with her.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. How do you, in those moments, so you feel betrayed, how do you actually overcome that? Like, that's a very big betrayal, which obviously I assume, and I've heard you say in hindsight, it's like it probably was great.
Yeah.
But in those moments, it feels like you've actually been stabbed in the back.
For sure it does. And I think that there have been moments where I felt betrayed, even in something that wasn't for the better, right? I think that's a beautiful example, because at the end of the day, like, it was for the better. But there are moments where we are betrayed and it's not for the better, and it costs us, and it changes how we think about ourselves or others. And I feel like betrayal communicates something to us, right? And so we have to understand, what did this communicate to me? I had a betrayal last year, and in the process of really navigating that betrayal, what I couldn't get over is, how did I miss it? Like, how did I miss it? Like, I don't understand how I allowed this to happen to me. And I think that those voices and what it communicates about, like, you're not this and you're not that, that's why the betrayal really stings. And so getting over it for me comes down to really answering that question: how did I miss it? What are some checkpoints or safety points that I should have next time? Not that I'm shutting everything down. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep growing. I'm going to keep my heart open for the next person, for the next space and opportunity. But what I want to understand is, how can I be a better qualifier based off of this wound that I just experienced? Because betrayal does make you feel like I cannot trust myself or the decisions I make.
Oh my God, you're so right. I love how you just put that, because it really does become about you.
Oh no, it's about you. It's really not about what they did. Yeah. It's like, how did I let this happen on my watch? Yeah.
So how do you get to that point then of thinking of it like that? Because in the moments, because I'm always like, in hindsight, there's always some clarity.
Yeah.
But in those moments, it never feels like that.
No.
So how did you, I mean, going from, at 13 that your sister betrays you, and then just last year to be able to take a betrayal that you just had and be like, oh, okay, so what did I miss? And like, almost like just use it as a lesson. How long did that take you to evolve to that point?
I will tell you that I'm one of those people who believe that everything that's happening in my life is happening for me. So when I have a betrayal, it's really difficult, because I don't feel in the moment how it could work for me now.
Right.
Right? So if everything's working for me, then it should work for me now. That's not how that works, though. It's like, in time, everything will work together. If you let the course of time play out, then it's going to work together. And so there's this beautiful, sometimes complicated mental exercise of, how could this work out for my good? Like, how could this become better? And to allow ourselves to really think on that in a way that says, okay, well, maybe this next time I'll do this, or next time I'll do that. It allows us to open up our mind for how this wound can turn to wisdom. The betrayal that I had last year, I knew that it was trying to teach me a lesson. And because I believe that everything that happens to me is ordained, my goal is to lean into it and then to figure out what is the lesson connected to this, so that I don't miss it next time.
Wow, yeah. Are you comfortable to discuss the situation?
I can. It was a professional betrayal. And it was someone who was on our team that just did something that felt like completely left field. I couldn't understand what happened, and then left the company and organization kind of like in this I won't call it glory, because it was betrayal, right? In this blaze of betrayal. And I was trying to figure out how our hiring practices needed to change, and what were some of the culture issues that we were having within our organization that would allow something to slip through cracks.
Oh my God, I love that so much, because I immediately, when you said that, I was like, I would have gone straight into, and I do, if a team member leaves, I go into straight like, oh my God, I'm a terrible leader. Right. Coming. How could I not seen it coming? Like, that's a failure on my part. And I think there is a strength to that, right? In the sense of, okay, if it's all my fault, what have I done wrong? How do I change it? But it's actually a little different to me when it becomes someone in your family or a friend. There's so much more emotion in it.
For sure.
Are you able to distinctly separate things like, okay, this went wrong and this went wrong, when it is something that's emotional for you?
No, I'm not. But I will say this, that I learned that those people cannot have access to certain parts of my person. Not every person in your family can feed you. Not every person in your family can help you promote growth and to create an environment for you to incubate hope. Some people are blowing your candle out while you're trying to get the flame going, right? And so to understand that, like, if I'm writing a book and I have someone who doesn't think that I'm smart or thinks that it's silly, no one's going to buy your book, then I can't talk about my book to them. To really understand based off of my interactions and engagements what boundaries I need, even when it comes to family, because it does hurt to have someone who's supposed to be in your corner tell you that you shouldn't be in the fight in the first place. And I'll tell you this, there's even a way where someone can tell you that I don't think this is your fight without damaging you in the process, right? Because not everyone has to agree with you. I'm not talking about having yes men, right? I'm talking about people who know how to even steer you in a different direction with grace and kindness in your heart and soul and mind. Yet people who are just like that brutally honest, I don't believe in that. I don't think that's cute. You can be honest without being brutal, because at the end of the day, there's a person connected to it. And so really understanding who in my family is qualified to help me with this part of my life, who is just a great babysitter, who makes the best potato salad, and to be able to categorize them properly is really important.
I love that so much, because just because you make an amazing potato salad doesn't mean that you've got a great idea about my business strategy.
No, but I cannot wait to see you at the cookout.
That's really important, actually, because I think that if we respect people, then, at least for me, if I respect someone, I used to think, oh, well, it means I have to listen to them.
Right. And all you have to do really is make sure that they feel like they got their voice out. But you don't have to take what they say and make it a part of your decision making, especially when you know that you've got something that no one's really going to understand but you for a minute. Like when I created Woman Evolve, I was like, I want to create a space where people who know the lyrics to Beyonce's songs and love Megan Thee Stallion, but also want to figure out a little bit about scripture could come together and really figure out like who am I? How do I come through my past traumas and mistakes? And how do I show up in the world? And there was really nothing like it, at least nothing that I had been exposed to that looked like that. And it seemed a little crazy when we were planning our pre-shows and what the content was going to be like. And yet there was this space that was just for me. If I would have told someone who only believed in traditional models of faith or only believed in traditional expressions of women's ministry, then they would have told me that you can't do this and you can't do that. And I would have maybe listened and missed out on the opportunity to be exposed to places and spaces that I should have never been in. But because I dared to believe and dared to incubate that thing and to keep boundaries around it, I've been able to really experience some transformation for people.
I dare to believe. That really hit me.
Dare. Yeah, it's a dare. It's a dare. Sometimes believing in yourself, believing in what, God's given you is like playing truth or dare. The truth is I'm afraid, but I'm going to dare to believe anyway. The truth is I'm not qualified, but I'm going to dare to go after it anyway. Just because it's true doesn't mean it has to become the compass in which you navigate your life with. Sometimes faith is a dare. Sometimes building is a dare. My heart is broken, but I'm going to dare to love again. I'm grieving, but I'm going to dare to get up and go to work. I'm going to dare to continue to show up in my life with my broken pieces, with my leftovers, because I believe that if I continue to do that, that there is unexpected beauty for me to behold. Not for me to achieve, but for me to behold. There is a version of you that you have yet to behold. You are just getting started. And you're going to have these mornings and these moments where you dare to keep your eyes open, even when it's easier to go through them with them closed and afraid. So I'm going to keep my eyes open and my heart open because there's another me that I want to behold.
Need to let that sit. That was so powerful, girl. It's such a beautiful, powerful word. But what do you think that it is there? Is it giving people permission, even if they don't feel capable?
I think it's permission for it to not be easy.
Oh.
The only thing about sound bites and social media and motivational quotes is that it makes it sound like so easy. The only person I want to be better than is the person I was yesterday. That sounds beautiful for a quote, and it's true. But sometimes that's a dare for people. And I think dare says this is permission for you to be courageous because it's not always going to be easy. And it's going to be an adventure. A dare speaks adventure. It speaks not easy. It's bold. It's courageous. You're going to have to become someone to do it. Whenever you're playing truth or dare as a kid, it's like, I'm going to put something in front of you and you're going to have to become someone to do it, to close your eyes and just allow me to feed you something. That's what's going to happen for us. We're going to dare to step into these moments of our life, and we're going to have to become someone to do that. And I think that there's a permission and adventure connected to that word.
Wow. Are there any bumpers though? Or is it like sky's the limit? Dare to do this, dare to do that? Or do you like, well, it's like it only works if X, Y, and Z?
I think the only bumper that I would add is that the dare is not to get, the dare is to become.
Go on.
You know, like I'm not daring you to become a billionaire.
Right.
I'm daring you to become someone who produces their idea and sees it down to the finish line. I'm daring you to become, not to go and get. And so when it is always about becoming and changing the way I think and communicating and educating and learning and growing, this is about me becoming, not what I can get. So that's the only bumper I would add to that.
That's a pretty amazing bumper. Yeah, that's a good one, girl.
It's a good one.
And you actually said it slightly earlier. I didn't want to interrupt you, but it basically is your perception of what success is.
Yes.
Talk to me about that, because it's so powerful. I think that we so get hung up on the end goal, which can be beautiful. It's such a great driving force, but we get so hung up on that we think if we don't get there, it's a failure.
Okay, I'll talk about it even with this book. So, you know, the book became a New York Times bestseller when it came out, and that was really exciting. But I spent a lot of time in the pre-order phase and the marketing campaign, not making my success about whether or not I hit the New York Times bestsellers list. Because at the end of the day, there are incredible books that never make the list. But what does happen is that it gets into the hands of one person or two people or 1,000 people, and it changes those people's lives. And so I wanted this book to be about transforming people's lives, not necessarily having a shiny sticker on top of it. And so for me, when people started reading the book and they were like, this is helping me, this is changing me, this is transforming me, I said, that's the sticker. That's the only sticker that matters. And so success for me was about taking what I knew God gave me, putting it out into the earth and allowing it to do whatever it does from that point. I said this once in an Instagram live, that success is obedience. It is not allowing what's in you to die in you. It is being obedient to that urge and that nudge that's pushing you towards manifestation. And when I am obedient, what happens from this is up to God and the world and the universe and the people who are connected to it. But my only goal was to be obedient to what was in me. And I became obedient, and you know, everything else happened after that.
God, I love that. So what would you actually do though if you were being obedient and you write the book, you're very proud of it, and it completely tanks?
But the obedience is in writing the book. It is not in the outcome. It's not in the reception. It's not in the validation of how people receive it. The obedience is in, I wrote the book. And the moment that the book is written, you have become obedient and therefore successful. Because you can't say that I don't want my life to be built on validation and then say I need my validation in order to become successful, you know?
Yeah.
The success is, like I said, in becoming obedient to what's in you.
Sarah, you're just freaking amazing, girl. Your book is chock full of such gold. I could honestly talk to you forever, girl. But where can people find you? Where can people find the book and everything that you're up to, all your speaking events that you're doing?
Okay, I am on Instagram and Facebook at Sarah Jakes Roberts. The book is available at womanevolve.com, and you can go on there and get plugged in with our community, our podcast, our YouTube, our social media, our tours, everything. So just womanevolve.com, and you can get all the goodies.